Sup guys, welcome to this tutorial that I will be covering the security concept called SQL injection. And in order to illustrate this, I made this basic web page where you can post some data and it gets presented on the web page. It gets saved to the database first and then it's fetched from the database and presented onto the web page. So this is all coming from a database. So let's have a look how this code is vulnerable and what to do in order to secure it. So first off, here's my index page, and as you can see, I'm including a file called backend, which is my backend, and it's the same principle as before. I post a variable called data, and if it's set, I post that data to the database, and then later on I call a function called print all posts, which is from the backend file as well, that prints all the posts to the view. So let's have a look at that file. First off, I include a PHP file called connector, which looks like this, and it has a function called getConnector, which returns my SQLi connection. And it also got two methods called executeMulti, which takes the SQL statement and executes it to the database and closes the connection, and the same with the execute command. So I create my SQL statements here, and then I execute them when I save the post, and the same principle with when I print them. I create my SQL statement, I execute and save the result, and then I iterate the result for each row in it and echoes out the post from the database. So it's pretty basic standard procedure. So in order to get why this page is vulnerable, we have to take a look at the index page again. As you can see, we have the same principle with the XSS vulnerability as I talked about before, and I'm not going to cover this concept, but you should secure it up for that as well, of course. So you should strip the tags or check the data for harmful code and so on. But the thing is here that if we take a look at how this page works, we have this input box right here, which ends up here in the post data, which is inserted here, which ends up in this function right here as this variable called post, and then that variable ends up directly into the SQL statement right here. And this means that if we input some special kind of syntax into that input box, we can modify the SQL statement and basically execute our SQL command straight into the database. So for example, let's have a look at an example. If I just copy this like this, and then I remove the variable post, and like this, here is my input's going to end up. So imagine if I, for example, insert something that looks like this. First I input some text or whatever in order to complete the statement like this. So this is a valid SQL statement right here. But the thing is, if I do, and then I use a semicolon in order to tell that this is a multi-statement. So whatever I type right after this is going to be my harmful SQL injection. So let's assume I type something like this. This means that I will delete all the data from the guestbook table. But as you can see, I have this remaining trailing stuff right here, which I have to deal with. So in order to do that, I can either create like an SQL statement that wraps it up and brings it together to a correct syntax. But the most easy way to deal with it is just type like this, which is the SQL syntax for comment. So whatever comes after this is commented out, so this will not be run at all. So, but I cannot take all of this into the input box. I have to take it from where the post variable starts. So I will have to use this this part right here. So I just copy this and try it out on the web page. So as you saw before, it's like it posts a variable to the database like this. So if I just paste my created SQL right there, and I post it, and as you can see, I effectively ran the SQL command straight into the database. And for example, if we have a look at the table in the database, we can see that it's empty right now. And I can use this to my advantage in other ways as well, because for example, I can drop tables, I can alter tables, I mean, I can do whatever I want. I can insert new users into the database and use those users in order to get access to whatever I feel like getting access to. So that's the basic procedure of a SQL injection, and it's pretty easy at least in PHP to like, it's both easy and hard at the same time to protect yourself against this. And it's easy because all you have to do really is you have to call a function called mysqli real escape string, and the syntax is like this. So the post data here is equal to the MySQL real escape of the post data, and it also needs the connection object. So and this strips out all the SQL and harmful code. I don't think it strips out like JavaScript and something, so you should deal with that as well. But for example, let's create some new data here so we have something to work with. And yeah, I don't think I saved it. No, I didn't. So let's try the same procedure again. Yeah, I don't know what really happened, but yeah, I didn't delete the data anyway. I'm not quite sure what happened really. Yeah, of course it's not working. Yeah, but as you can see, the data wasn't stripped out anyway, so if I try to like post this, it just is interpreted as text, which is what we want. So so as you can see, the procedure for protecting yourself against it is pretty easy, but at the same time it's pretty hard as well, because you have to do this with all the data that gets inputted everywhere in the web page. So you just have to miss it in one place in order to have this vulnerability. For example, you could have a pretty complex form for inputting data and registering things, and if you forget one variable there, you're screwed, because you can use it like this. And so that's how you use real escape string. And as always, you should assume that all input is evil and have to be treated accordingly. So thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.